Welcome back to the Amid the Mess podcast, where we talk all about health-related things, but make them applicable to the busy craziness that is the life of parents with children and with work, and where everything is a bit frazzled. So today I spoke with Steve Frazier, who is an author and passionate about spreading information about caffeine. So before you leave, I know everyone loves caffeine. I love caffeine, but stay. You will learn something so interesting. So Steve has written a book called Releasing the Coffee Cuffs, Winning the Battle with Caffeine. And this includes over 300 references. So he is such an expert on this subject. We talk all about the effects of caffeine on your sleep. Now, you might think, oh, I can still fall asleep, so it doesn't have an effect on my sleep. But actually, he goes all into, even if you manage to go to sleep, it is doing something to the quality of your sleep. And so there's lots more that he goes into, so I'm not going to talk about it now. But this is all said with so much compassion, because most of us rely on caffeine. I know I do. And after this conversation, I am seriously reevaluating that. So, no judgment, but please do listen to this chat with Steve Frazier. It's so interesting and motivating. So, without further ado, here's my chat with Steve. What is one thing that most people don't know about caffeine?
How it affects your sleep. And because people that drink caffeine sleep, they think it doesn't bother them. Okay. And it has to do with circadian rhythm, and which we can get into in a couple of minutes. But sleep is the foundation of your health, of our health.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where we heal, we dream, we do all kinds of really, really cool things. And, the sleep cycle is, ironically, there's 4 stages in a sleep cycle. There's a first stage where we're just kind of falling into sleep. The second stage is the longest. That first one is 5 to 10%. The second one is about 40%, and that's stage 2. And that's where nothing's really happening other than you went to sleep. Now, stage 3 is where we heal. And this is where, as an example, men produce testosterone, women produce estrogen, and we heal our cells. And stage 4 is REM sleep, and that's where we dream and our subconscious is working. Now, our subconscious works all the time, 24 hours a day. It just works longer or harder maybe in stage 4. Now, what caffeine does to the sleep cycle is it delays stage 3 and stage 4, and it also shortens them.
Okay.
And a fun fact to know and tell is that you have more than one sleep cycle a night. You have perhaps 4 to 8. Okay, so you go through those 4 stages possibly 4 to 8 times in a night. Now, if your stage 3 and stage 4 sleep are delayed and shortened, you wake up tired.
Yeah.
Now, what happens when you wake up tired? I need some caffeine. Whether it's coffee, whether it's tea, whether it's an energy drink, whether it's a soda, it doesn't matter. Okay, the caffeine molecule is there. Okay, it doesn't matter how
the cycle.
Right.
Yeah, the cycle continues.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And I wrote a book, and it's called Release the Coffee Cuffs. And the bottom line is that in 14 of those chapters, we talk about that cycle. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And it is different, particularly for men and women. Women have a little bit different sleep cycle. And for teens, it's really different because the teenage circadian rhythm is delayed by about 2 hours. So when your teenager says at 10 o'clock, I'm not tired, they're really not lying. Okay. They're not kidding, because and then that changes as they grow into adults. But just think of the teenager that goes to sleep at night and tries, go to bed at 10 o'clock, but they don't go to sleep till 11:30, maybe midnight, and they still have to get up and go to school in the morning. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then what happens? Well, they don't have the energy. So what do? They turn to caffeine.
Yeah.
Among other things, possibly. And so the whole circadian rhythm starts when you wake up in the morning. Okay. And that cortisol is your natural energizer in the morning.
Yes.
Now, this has a lot to do with sleep. It has a lot to do with testosterone and something called the cortisol belly, which I'll get into in a second. So when I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is I go to my living room window, which faces east, and I watch the sun. Not right now, I'm getting up and it's dark. So now I have to have a sun lamp. Okay. Because what that does is it helps boost my cortisol release.
Yeah.
And that gives me my natural energy for the day. And then the next thing I do is I drink 20 ounces of lemon water. Okay. Now I also put some other stuff in there, which is all good for me. But what that does is it rehydrates our cells and our body, because while we sleep, we become dehydrated. And
do you put a pinch of salt in as well, perhaps?
Yep.
Maybe. I think we need that for rehydration, don't we?
Absolutely. I also put apple cider vinegar. I put in a humic and fulvic acid, which is a detox, a heavy metal detox. I also put in it's called Cell Food. It's a oxygenator. And I've actually...
It's quite a few things that you put in that first drink of the morning. Yeah.
And then I also put in a little stevia, because the apple cider vinegar's got quite a bite. Just so you know, if you've ever drank it, it's got a bite. So So then I drink that, and then what happens throughout the day is my cortisol naturally goes down, because we're talking about your natural circadian rhythm.
Yeah, and just to explain to everyone, so cortisol, it's known as the stress hormone.
Correct.
But isn't it? It's meant to go high in the morning, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Meant to be nice and high, and that wakes you up.
Yep.
And throughout the day, it slowly goes down. Is that correct?
That is absolutely right. Yeah. You could do this for me.
No. I just wanted to make sure that everyone realizes that.
I was teasing you because you did that really, really well. Because I actually do that. The cortisol goes down. And then what goes up? Melatonin and adenosine. Okay. Now, a lot of people hear about melatonin. You need melatonin. You take it to help you sleep. A lot of people don't know or understand what adenosine is. And adenosine is what naturally puts you to sleep at night.
Is that sleep pressure? Is that called because I have two young children, and in the kind of online literature about sleep for children, they always talk about sleep pressure. So if you have a little nap, if you allow them a little nap, it takes the sleep pressure away, and then they can't fall asleep as easily, after that. Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you may have upset your circadian rhythm a little bit with the nap. Now for kids, I'm not going to go there, because I haven't done research on kids and adenosine.
Yes, and of course, the whole different ball game when it's very young children who need naps in the day. And we won't go there today. Yeah. Right.
Good. But we can do that some other time.
Yeah.
But for adults, and I'm going to hit a quick tangent here. For adults, many adults that start their day with caffeine, if they don't continue drinking caffeine, they get brain fog, fatigue during the afternoon, and they take a nap. Okay. Yeah. Half an hour, 45 minutes. But because the adenosine, what happens when you drink caffeine, the caffeine, or any kind of caffeine, the caffeine molecule is very similar to the adenosine molecule. Mm-hmm. And so when the caffeine molecule goes into the brain, it plugs the adenosine receptor.
Okay.
So what it does is makes you very alert. It's this, because it's not just the adenosine. There's a couple other things, the cortisol, but then you have adrenaline. when you
Yeah, so
drink
caffeine increases adrenaline.
yes,
Yeah.
because your adrenal glands are affected dramatically by caffeine. And so what happens, what is adrenaline for? This would be the question. And adrenaline is for fight or flight. And it's similar to cortisol, the stress hormone, okay? Because adrenaline is there for you to protect yourself and help yourself.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that happens is that when your adrenaline kicks in, it pumps a bunch of glucose into your muscles.
So you can run away from danger.
You can danger.
Fight.
Yes. Danger Will Robinson from the old Lost in Space. We can run away from the tigers, bears, or a robber, or whatever the case may be. Well, if you're sitting at your kitchen table having a cup of coffee or tea, or you're at work and you're doing the same thing, the glucose is in your muscles, but you're not using it. So what happens? Your pancreas says, "Whoa, man, we got a blood sugar spike. We need to pump some insulin into there." And so then what you do is you have ups and downs.
Okay. Yeah, and then the glucose probably goes into the fat cells instead, or something like that.
Yep. Yeah. And then what can happen is you get what's called a cortisol belly, which when you get too much cortisol, it actually goes around your stomach. Men and women, doesn't matter how fit you are, doesn't matter what your diet is, that has to go somewhere. And that's where it chooses. That apparently is the easiest spot for cortisol to go. Okay. So and then you also have dopamine.
Okay. Dopamine released when you drink caffeine.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
And not just when you drink it, but when you just think about it.
When you smell it.
Yes. Oh, yes. I do a presentation and I have a 28-second commercial that I start my I literally start with this. It's waking up to Folgers in your cup. Now in the United States, Folgers is a big coffee brand, and they've done these commercials for years. And you said you can smell this as you're watching the commercial. Yeah, and you see the mom is in the kitchen making the coffee. They show all the beautiful coffee beans, and then you can kind of smell it. And then she brings in 2 mugs into the bedroom, and dad is in there, and he's sitting on the floor in between the 2 twin beds, the 2 boys. And she hands him the cup, and they both big smiles. They take a sip, and then the boys they realize that mom and dad are up, okay, and then they come and join him, and they have a big group hug, okay, and everybody feels just great about drinking coffee in the morning. Now, first of all, what is that telling the 2 young boys?
That it's linked with happiness and awakeness and fun,
and success. To be a successful adult, you should or absolutely should drink coffee or tea in the morning. Because look at mom and dad. They're happy.
It's culture.
That's right. And our culture. I did a podcast a month ago with a lady that was born in Colombia. And
big culture there.
Her bottle had half milk and half coffee for the first 2 years of her life.
Her baby bottle.
Her baby bottle. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's what I was. That's just what I said to her. Okay. I said, whoa. I was shocked.
That's another level.
Oh yeah. But Colombia is one of the largest coffee producers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
well, interestingly, culture-wise, so I'm Dutch, and the Dutch culture is very coffee focused as well.
Yes.
Not so much so. I don't think we give it to babies and children, thankfully. But I'm sure at least adults drink it like it's water.
Yes.
They'll have like 5-6 cups a day easily.
Yep. And so,
interesting.
I'll tell you my message right now, and then I'll do it again at the end. But my message is, do you know someone that might be being negatively affected by caffeine? Okay.
Oh yeah. I probably think 99% of the people that I know, including myself.
Correct. Yes. I was a caffeine addict. I lived on it. As I grew up, I started my entrepreneurship 40 years ago. I bought my first restaurant. I was in the restaurant business for 23 years with 5 more restaurants. I lived on caffeine.
Yeah.
When we would open a restaurant, I was doing double-fisted 20-ounce cappuccinos, 2 at a time.
Because I guess that business needed so much energy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 11 years ago, I was traveling. I was 45 minutes from home, and I had major heart palpitations. I thought I was having a heart attack. And so I called my wife. I turned around. I said, when I get home, I want you to take me to the ER. We go to the emergency room. They put me on an EKG machine. And they showed me where my heart was jumping. And the doctor came in and he said, don't worry about it. You're fine. Well, I didn't feel fine because I thought I was going to die. You're pretty mortal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I said,
gives you a scare.
What's going on? He said, well, you are in a minority of people that can feel these. They're called premature ventricular contractions, PVCs. And you happen to be able to feel them. And yours are pretty strong today. Because we're watching it. I mean, this is so bizarre because we're watching the needle jump when I feel like my heart's jumping out of my chest. I said, so what causes this? He said, well, stress. Well, we all have stress, right? I mean, And then he kind of smiles and he pauses and he said, and caffeine. And realized I had caffeine. I don't remember if I ate that morning. But the bottom line is that what happened then is I quit. And I felt much better. And then, like everybody that's addicted to anything, I thought I had everything under control. So I started again. Yeah. And pretty much on caffeine then for the next 9 years until 2 years ago, I finally quit cold turkey, which I don't recommend.
It gives you a lot of headaches, doesn't it?
Oh, it's brutal because and a lot of people don't know why. Okay. And that is because when you stop the caffeine, the molecule that has been blocking your adenosine receptors, they all open up at once. And guess what happens? You get this major blood flow to your brain. And so you got all this adenosine now, it's finally hitting the receptors. And so your headache can last anywhere from 12 hours to 7 to 9 days. And with that, you get...
I just say, I agree. Before my most recent pregnancy, I obviously stopped, we did IVF. So I stopped caffeine before we started IVF. But in the process of doing that, I had to take painkillers twice a day for like a week to stop these caffeine withdrawal headaches.
That's kind of funny when you say that, because when I quit 2 years ago, I called my daughter up, and she's a natural health practitioner. She's our primary caregiver. And I said, her name's Alex. I said, Alex, what can I do here? She said, well, my best advice is just drink as much water as you can because it'll flush your system. She said, you can take ibuprofen, which is a over-the-counter pain medication.
Yeah, we have the same in the UK.
Yeah. And she said, but just so you know, that's not going to help. You're just humoring yourself, because the only thing that will stop that headache is caffeine.
Oh,
because you have to block the receptor.
It's a caffeine withdrawal. Just like you would have a withdrawal effect if you took like hard drugs or something.
Right, exactly.
Crazy.
And when you just told me, you made my day when you just told me that you had quit caffeine while you were trying to get pregnant, and then you were pregnant.
Yes.
Because the message that I want to share with you and your listeners is this. I can't make anybody do anything. And I know this from personal experience. I'm 68. I've got 4 kids, 8 grandchildren. I've had 1,000 employees. You can't make anybody do anything.
No.
So for me to say quit caffeine, that's silly. Okay. Because we all have free will and free won't.
Yeah.
And we determine what goes into our bodies. However, what I would like to do is try to influence any pregnant woman to just stop drinking caffeine while she's pregnant.
Yes.
Because the implications for the fetus and then the child, the baby, after it's born, are many, and they're all documented. When I wrote the book, I cited all this.
That's all in there. That's so interesting. This is one of the questions I was going to get to. So why don't we just dive straight into it? So please, what are the implications? And if you can talk a bit about the science, that would be amazing.
Sure.
Yeah.
First thing is that it leads to low birth weight. It can. Okay. Now remember, everybody's different. And so when I say this, somebody's listening say, well, I drank caffeine the whole time and nothing bad. That's okay.
And I had a massive baby. Yes.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Right. Massive. Right. Yeah. 10
pounds. Some of them are pretty big.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's funny because there's exceptions to everything. However, the studies show that caffeine during pregnancy leads to low birth weight, can lead to miscarriages, and can lead to stillbirths. Okay.
Oh,
now,
gosh.
I've had 2 miscarriages and a stillbirth in my immediate family. And I realize
that's tough.
This doesn't just affect the baby and mom and dad. It affects brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, grandma and grandpas. I mean, it can affect 100 people. But then, and why does this happen? Because it restricts the blood flow to the fetus,
to the placenta, and then to the fetus.
And, because caffeine crosses the placenta barrier and the blood-brain barrier. Now, ironically, and we're just going to assume now that we're talking about a mom that's drinking caffeine, okay, and she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So what happens then is that us as adults, we process 80 to 95% of our caffeine intake through our liver through an enzyme called CPY1A2. There's no test on this, but that's what it's called, okay? And that's how we process it. The irony here is that babies don't develop that enzyme until they're 3 to 6 months old, out of the womb.
Okay.
As the caffeine goes into their bodies, because it's coming, everything mom's eating, drinking goes to baby.
Yeah.
Then what happens is that all that caffeine is accumulated. And their adenosine receptors are going to be plugged. Now,
and what's the consequence of that?
Oh, that's a great question. How many babies have been diagnosed as colic? It's okay because it's normal. Because you realize that this is exactly the same thing as if, and you know this, there's many moms that go in that are drug addicts that have babies, right? They go in, and the doctors and the hospitals are aware of the addiction, and they know that baby's addicted. So when that baby's born,
on the inside,
yes, when that baby's born, they have to do the detox and the withdrawal protocol for the baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, how often is this discussed when it comes to caffeine? Because 12 hours after that baby's born and those adenosine receptors open up, we're talking massive headache here.
Oh, the babies get the caffeine withdrawal headache.
Yes, and it's screaming bloody murder. And everybody says, oh, that's just normal. That's colicky. That happens.
Babies cry.
Yeah, babies cry.
Yeah.
Nah, healthy babies don't cry all the time. Healthy babies cry. Okay, don't misunderstand me.
If they're tired or hungry, they will cry.
Things happen, right? But then also after they're born, the fact that they didn't get the development in the womb that they should have had because of low blood flow and bad nutrients, caffeine, can lead to all kinds of development issues. Okay, it can lead to ADD, ADHD, mental things, concentration, can create more anxiety. Again, this is all documented. So, it sounds like I'm just making this up, and I'm not, because some of this is...
There is research showing correlations between caffeine consumption and all of these things, is there? Yeah.
So this is so bizarre. Nobody knows about this. I mean, because...
Well, it's one of those cultural phenomenons. It's a bit like alcohol, that so many people consume it and depend on it, that even if they kind of know deep down inside this is not really a good thing, everyone's kind of, but let's just laugh it off, and all good things in moderation, isn't it? I think it's so normalized.
You know what that's called? That's called cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
And in order for someone to actually address this, what led me to part of my journey here is I'm a self-sabotage coach. Okay. And when you do things, self-sabotage is undermining your own morals and values.
Yeah. And the well-being of your future self.
Correct. There you go. And so what happens is that one of the virtues of addressing cognitive dissonance is humility. Humility is the ability to acknowledge that you may have believed something that was wrong, and you may have been doing something that was bad for you.
Yeah. To admit to yourself, okay, that I made a mistake and it's okay.
Yes. Yep. And, you know, I live in the same culture as you. I mean, everybody drinks caffeine.
Yeah.
85% of adults in the U.S. drink caffeine. My book came out about 7 weeks ago. And as I handed it out to friends and family, generally speaking, the first response is, "You can't take my coffee from me." Okay, well,
you've got to prise it out of my cold, dead hands.
Absolutely. I did a seminar, and a lady was clutching her hands like this as she said this to me. And because as if she had a coffee cup in her hand. Yeah. And I said, I have no intention of taking anything from you. Because once again, you have free will and free won't.
Yeah, but you are educating people.
Right, yeah. Now, when it comes to women, it's really a fun fact to know and tell. Caffeine affects women dramatically different in the different phases of the menstrual cycle.
Oh, go on. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, and there's a phase at the end. The last 2 weeks is called the luteal phase. And people didn't probably see this coming, but when you're in that phase as a woman, you process caffeine 70% slower.
Okay, and that's the luteal phase is like also the PMS phase before your period. So that's when you get crankier and tired.
Oh, yes. And so caffeine aggravates that.
The crankiness and the tiredness.
Oh, yes. Okay. And also, ironically, a lot of over-the-counter menstrual pain medications have a lot of caffeine in them. I mean, a lot.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Because
caffeine is also a painkiller.
It is.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it makes you feel good. Gives you dopamine, gives you adrenaline, because if you're taking a Midol with caffeine in it or Tylenol with caffeine, whatever, Excedrin, all these things do the same thing as a cup of coffee or tea. Yeah. They release the dopamine, they release the adrenaline, they release the cortisol, they stop the adenosine receptors. Okay, so
in the short term, they make you feel better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that you drink the coffee, which normally has a half-life of 5 to 8 hours, right? So now in that phase, for 2 weeks, if you're still drinking caffeine, it now goes to 8 to 12 hours. So if you have a strong cup of tea, yeah. So if you drink, let's say at noon, you drink your last coffee or tea, you conceivably can still have a half-life of that at 10 or 12 o'clock at night. Again, you go to sleep.
Interesting.
But it's affecting the quality of your sleep.
Yeah. And so that's interesting. And I just want to reemphasize the point. So plenty of people do fall asleep fine. I mean, there's lots of people who actually struggle with insomnia. Like I'm one, right. I struggle to fall asleep. But so even if you do fall asleep fine, if you had a coffee late afternoon, I'm thinking of a few people I know would have coffee at like 4 p.m. Right. Hint.
Yeah. Let's hope they're watching this, right? Yeah.
But they're like, I'm fine because I can still fall asleep. Mm-hmm. So is it even for them that their quality of sleep will be negatively affected?
The quality, and we don't control this because this is our bodies. This is nature. Yeah. We have been designed really, really well. The problem is that we mess it up, right? By what we put in. Go figure, right? And one of the things and this is just, here's a very philosophical observation. It is hard to be healthy.
It takes work.
It does.
It takes work. It's like an uphill battle. You have to put in
Yep.
the work.
Yep. And, you know, 13 years ago, my wife got sick. And she, 2 years undiagnosed with Lyme disease.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of damage. Okay, so we dramatically changed everything we did, how we ate, because she became celiac. She can't do grains. She can't do any grains. She can't do any processed food. A number of things. Well, we went down the natural food rabbit hole. Okay, and it's something that, like as she has said, we'd never known these things if I hadn't gotten sick, because we ate all the garbage. Okay.
Yeah.
If you eat in a traditional grocery store, if you just buy the stuff off the shelf, 95% of it is heavily processed.
Yes, yes. But let me just stop you there. Very interesting. But I have more questions to fit in about caffeine.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
But I mean, yeah, we all know, highly processed food, rubbish.
Yep.
But so you've covered pregnancy, and thank you. That was brilliant. Yep. Does this also extend to breastfeeding?
Yes.
Okay.
And so there's a certain amount of caffeine that goes through the breast milk, not nearly as much as when the fetus was getting directly through the placenta, right? Because that's
just a little bit.
But there is some. But it's still, it will impair growth. It will impair their ability to sleep well.
Yeah.
All those things that we can verbalize, they can't.
But babies can't. Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, realize that if you're breastfeeding, your baby's getting a constant dose of caffeine, so it's not going to come off until you stop breastfeeding. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not like you get it like once a day in the morning. They will just probably get it throughout the day.
Right. Correct. Because it's in your system, and again, you look at this half-life, and that I want to mention one thing about the 70%. Birth control pills do the same thing.
What do you mean 70%? Sorry.
70% slower processing of caffeine.
Okay. So if you're on birth control and it lowers, or is it high?
It's estrogen. It's an estrogen thing.
Yeah.
And so what it does is you process it slower.
So when estrogen is high or when it's low?
Yeah.
Which one?
I have to. That's a good question. I mean, here we go. When estrogen increases, it increases dopamine sensitivity, amplifying caffeine's feel-good or reward effects, but it also has potential for anxiety. Okay. So when it's high, when your estrogen is higher, you're more susceptible to the effects of caffeine.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. I happen to have it. I just kind of forgot which way it was.
Of course.
That's a good question.
You've done so much research. I'm sure there's all these different facts that you have to hold into your brain. Definitely. Okay, that's interesting. Right. So, thank you. Now, so we've covered pregnancy, we've covered babies. Before we run out of time, I really wanted to cover teenagers as well. You mentioned about their circadian rhythm being delayed. Well, personally, I know as a teenager, I drank a lot of caffeine, and it was encouraged by my teachers and by my parents. I love you, parents, so no hard feelings.
Right.
But what are your thoughts about how do we need to protect our teenagers from this, or what's the deal?
Oh yes, it's out of control, and I mean, we have teenagers here. Some of my grandkids, they go to Starbucks all day, first thing in the morning, because they need a boost, and then because they're coming down. Now, what it does is it really gives them a lot more anxiety. Mm-hmm. You already, as a teenager, your anxiety level is probably at 9 or 10, right? I mean, you have all these social pressures.
It's always high.
With groups and friends, and with grades, and with trying to fulfill the expectations of your parents or your family, and all you're doing is aggravating that anxiety. Because whenever you come down, and there's studies that show as an example, for college students that drink caffeine, they did a study where they took a group of college students doing finals that drank caffeine and then a group that didn't drink caffeine. And they found the group that didn't drink caffeine, always had better results because they were even. Okay, they didn't crash.
Yeah.
Okay? And what happens when you're a teenager, and that goes right into those early college years, what happens is that you don't drink caffeine to get that buzz anymore. You drink the caffeine to get to a baseline.
Yes.
Because here's a...
As with all the adults, basically.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing. And here's a question for everyone to ponder is, does anybody here listening to this really know what it's like to be healthy?
To be healthy.
True health. True health. You know, if you have to wake up in the morning and have a cup of coffee, first thing, you need it. You're addicted to it. Okay.
Yeah.
And what that does is it doubles your cortisol. You get this huge cortisol spike. You get the adrenaline. You get all those things we talked about. And then your circadian rhythm is shot. Okay. Yeah. So as an example, I'm not the healthiest guy in the world, but I feel good. Okay.
Yeah. In the morning when you wake up.
Right. I have energy. I get my best work done in the morning.
Yep, and it's supposed to be that way.
That's right.
For humans.
Correct.
But the caffeine withdrawal of all of us in the morning makes that difficult.
Because you are in withdrawal when you wake up.
Yeah.
If you're drinking caffeine regularly, you are in withdrawal because you haven't had any for 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it can kick in that fast. Now, in the first chapter of my book, it's called Anecdotal Stories. And I originally did it for the last chapter. And as I put it together, I realized how important it was. Because what it is, it's 20 people that did testimonials on what happened when they quit caffeine. And if you read this, you will find yourself in there somewhere. Because you're in there. Because some of these stories are just unbelievable. But there's one guy in particular. And he's on YouTube. His name's Vince Del Monte. He's an influencer, extremely successful man. Got to the point where caffeine was destroying his personal life and his business life.
Oh gosh!
He was drinking shots of espresso to go to church to make a decision. Okay, and so he quit cold turkey. Painful. I think 9 or 10 days of pain.
Yes.
Took him 6 months to really recycle because everything's messed up. Your adrenals, your circadian rhythm.
Yeah. And I guess the best way to quit would be to just cut it down very slowly. Yep. Taper it down.
Taper it. Yep. Just taper it. And his observation, as well as 19 of the other 20 people, 18 of the other 20, the biggest benefit they had when they quit caffeine of any form was their sleep. He said, and when I wake up in the morning, and this is his observation, these are his words. It's a testimonial on YouTube. He said, I now feel like when I wake up, I've had a double or triple shot espresso. Because that's how our bodies are designed to work.
That's that natural cortisol spike that we're supposed to get in the morning.
Exactly. Now, you can fix most of this. In fact, you really can fix all of it. The hardest part generally is the physical part, but that's really not the hardest part.
Yeah, the initial cutting out of the caffeine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hardest part is sustaining that. And and now we're going to go back to my self-sabotage history because as you mentioned, alcohol, caffeine, everybody does it. Okay.
It's culturally accepted and promoted.
And that's called the herd mentality. If you're part of the herd, you're socially accepted. If you're not part of the herd, you're an outcast. Okay, I would be an outcast. Okay, I did a podcast with a guy a couple weeks ago, and I told him, I said, I'm like a fish. I'm like a salmon swimming upstream. You've seen the pictures, where they go up to spawn.
Yeah. Very effortful.
Yes.
Upstream swimming.
And he said to me, no, Steve, you're not a salmon swimming upstream. You're a salmon swimming against a tsunami. I use that, and I will use that probably in everything I talk about, because he's absolutely right. Because the pushback here is extreme because of the cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Because
And there's
people
lots of
don't want to
other
know.
people, like there's scientists even saying about benefits of polyphenols in coffee.
Yep.
And there's also probably some big, how do you call it, big data sets, evidence that it's maybe linked to positive heart health benefits or something.
Yep.
And then they say it's the polyphenols and it's
I
the
just watched a
fiber.
commercial. I just watched a reel, and I'm not going to say the guy's name, but he's a really high tech biohacker and entrepreneur, extremely successful. And he went on to say that adults in the United States, and probably all over, get 60 to 80% of their
That's all right. What's the word?
Antioxidants.
Oh, yes.
Right. From coffee, from caffeine. Okay.
Wow.
And so I did a little research, and he's not lying. But why is that? And that's because people aren't eating anything with antioxidants in.
They should just eat more fruit.
Right.
Fruit and
blueberries,
vegetables.
whatever, kale, I mean, does it sound... Blueberries are tasty. Yeah. Eat blueberries, okay?
Yes.
But
yeah,
he was serious. He said, I lost all this weight. I feel better. He said the key to good health is to drink 4 to 5 cups of coffee a day. And I'll tell you what, that is pretty much a blatant lie. Okay, it is, because of all the things we've talked about. And so when you look at this, was he lying when he said that? No, he said because those people aren't getting antioxidants, and there are antioxidants in caffeine.
Yeah.
Now, if you cut way down, you're going to be just fine if you drink these other things. Yeah. One of the major things is that caffeine is a diuretic as well.
Yeah,
and
which
so
means
when you're going to the bathroom,
moisture,
minerals, right? And you're not just losing water; you're losing minerals. And if you don't substitute, or if you don't supplement those, you're deficit. Okay, for women, osteoporosis is a big deal, right? Bone strength.
Oh, wow. Okay, it's linked to osteoporosis.
Yeah, because you're not getting the calcium in your bones because you're excreting it in your urine.
Ah, so the diuretic effect makes even calcium get peed out.
I can give you a piece of non-medical advice here. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Non-medical advice. Yes.
Nope.
Just information.
Whether you're on caffeine or not, magnesium glycinate, whatever form, and if I were you, I would talk to somebody. I'm lucky. My daughter's a natural health provider, so I get all I got to do is call her and go see her. But if you take this, it will help you sleep at night, and it will help you replace that magnesium that you're losing. I also take calcium and vitamin C. I take all these things every day because I know I'm losing them. I drink Swiss water processed decaf, organic.
Okay, well, actually, that does bring me on to a question. I was going to ask for some advice. So, of course, we've gone over all these things. That caffeine isn't great for us. And my audience, I like to focus on busy, frazzled parents.
Sure.
And we might be some of the worst offenders of caffeine consumption because...
I'm not judging you either. I understand. I've been there.
With children can be so fractured and so much sleep deprivation. So this is all said with so much empathy for these parents. But what is your advice if someone is just not getting enough sleep? They can't do anything about it. Their baby or their young child is just waking up in the night. They're trying to get to bed early. It is the way it is.
Yes.
But what is your advice for them to try and get as much energy in the day as possible?
There's a lot of herbal teas and coffees that have energy. There's herbs like ashwagandha is a herb that you can use. It's a mood enhancer. It will make you feel better.
Okay.
There's a number of herbs that'll do this. Okay. There's no caffeine involved. Okay. Now, I can't do anything about your baby getting up at 2:00 in the morning. Okay.
No, not many people can do anything about that.
This is part of growing up. people don't have kids because, I can't do that. Well, this is part of the deal. Okay. And
Yes.
it's well worth it. Obviously I have 8 grandchildren and it's wonderful. I can't think of a better thing, but so you have to, for lack of a better word, you have to suck it up, and you have to, and so the key then is to, during the day, instead of drinking caffeine, what do? Well, breath work is fabulous. Okay. And there's
so mindful, slow breathing.
Yes. And what it does is it puts oxygen into your brain, puts more oxygen into your body, because and there's multiple different techniques.
Yeah.
You just need to find the one that works for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Short walk.
Yeah.
It gives
outside
you energy.
Air, fresh air in your face.
Right.
Some movement.
Journaling. Okay. And I'm gonna send you, and you can put it in your show notes. I have 2 different links. The first link is called Tools and Trackers. And what it does is, the first thing, it helps you track the caffeine that you're drinking. And you can do this for anything. It can be alcohol, it can be nicotine, it can be drugs, it can be prescription drugs. Doesn't matter. Okay. First of all, you have to address this.
Yeah.
Okay. My daughter, who I talked about, she's a heavy caffeine user. She just went to a seminar in New York City, and she got tested, and the guy said, caffeine is a major stressor for you.
Okay.
So she came home, and this was just 8 days ago. She came home. She said, Dad, I'm going to go down to 75 milligrams a day. I said, don't do that. So first thing we did is we discussed how much she was drinking. And we determined that a minimum she was doing 240 milligrams a day. Okay. Now that's heavy use. And that's a minimum.
And what does that look like? How many standard cups
2 cups of coffee. That's a pre-workout drink in the morning, possibly a caffeinated soda, and then an occasional Red Bull, or energy drink. Okay. Yeah. That's when it goes over 240.
Yeah.
So I said, so here's what I want you to do. I said, I want you to shoot the first week is shoot for 150. Okay, because if she stays at 150, she won't have any really withdrawals. I said, then the week after, you go to 100. Okay, now you realize that is literally 1 cup of coffee.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe you want to have 2 sodas that have like 40 to 50 milligrams. Okay, you don't get to drink energy drinks anymore because they're way over that. I said, and then go to 50. Now, by the time you get there, your body is now acclimating to less of this psychoactive drug. Okay. Yeah. And then when you quit, you won't have the severe headache. You won't have the withdrawals, the brain fog, the fatigue.
Yes.
And then another part of that is journaling. Okay.
So how does that help, journaling?
You are acknowledging your journey.
Okay.
Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's not so good, right?
Yep. Okay. Yep.
I mean, and if you're journaling, this is just for you. It's not for me. It's not for you. It's for you personally.
Yeah.
So if you journal and you're honest, you can then look back in retrospect and say, 3 weeks ago, this is how I felt. And now I'm slowly getting off of caffeine because we have mood trackers in there. We have sleep trackers. Okay. Now there's watches you can wear and things you can wear that track your sleep. Okay.
Yes. And they can measure things like heart rate variability and things. Yes. Okay.
For that, it's good. Okay. Now the bottom line is when you wear something on your skin that has an electronic pulse, it's creating an EMF effect on your body.
So that might disrupt sleep as well. Ironically.
Ironically, to get the information, you might not sleep well. Okay. That's an oxymoron. So
it is.
And we can't talk about that because we'll never get out of that rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
So we track it and we journal it and we do breathing exercises. And then if you have the traditional things that's societal, cultural things, okay, the tea break, the coffee break, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but tea was introduced in England in the 17 and 1800s
It's a link with India, isn't it? The colonial link with India. And it's now an institution in England. I mean, tea. Whew,
but why did it start? It's because the water was so bad in England that the factory workers were drinking beer and ale.
Yes,
because it was pasteurized,
safer.
Right?
Yes.
It was clean. It was clean water. Well, the factory owners, these guys are drunk. They're tired, because it's catching up to them.
It's not very productive. No.
So what do? They figure out that if they give these guys tea, their productivity probably doubled. Nobody's going to sleep anymore. So you have the tea break, afternoon tea, whatever you call it, morning tea, whatever the case may be. This is where it started. This is how this whole institution started.
To stop the factory workers being drunk. Okay. Yes, yes.
Unexpected twist, right?
I like it. Interesting. But these days there are so many alternatives.
Yes.
That actually, people can go for a decaffeinated tea or decaffeinated coffee. I mean, what's your opinion on those? Are those properly caffeine free?
Regular decaf still has 10 to 15% caffeine in it. And it's also got a lot of chemicals because they use chemicals to extract the caffeine.
Oh, okay.
Now, what I mentioned before is I drink something called, it's organic, but it's Swiss water processed. And it takes out over 99% of the caffeine. And they use water.
So in the process of decaffeinating it, rather than using chemicals, they use water.
Yep.
So there's two different types of ways to do that.
Correct. So when I drink organic, I don't have, hopefully, the pesticides and herbicides, because caffeine coffee plant is the most sprayed plant in the world. Other than cotton, we don't eat cotton.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
But coffee plant, and cotton. And the reason is that there's a whole bunch of reasons, but it's now they have to put the pesticides and herbicides on there because they plant it so close together that the bugs will eat it anyway. Now,
okay, so actually, if you're going to go for coffee, even aside from the caffeine aspect, going for organic is pretty important.
Yes, and tea as well, because and then you also have mold, in bulk coffee, but the toxins and they're trace, okay, but trace accumulates.
Yes, if you have it like every day, the whole year, your whole life, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so the recommendation I would have is to find herbal teas, organic herbal teas, organic herbal coffees, or like I have the Swiss water process.
Yeah.
I mean, and rooibos tea is one, Yes. What did we talk about before? It's hard to be healthy.
Okay. Yes.
Especially when we've been programmed since birth that caffeine is what makes us good, successful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's very much in our programming, and you have to swim against the tide to turn it around for you.
And there is a way to do that. You can can reprogram your subconscious, and it's simply with affirmations every night. I actually offer hypnotherapy sessions every night.
Great.
Half an hour before you go to bed, you listen to this. And what does it do? It's pre-programming your subconscious that you don't need caffeine anymore.
Oh, yeah, because I'm sure it's a belief. You're like, well, if you keep saying, oh, I need caffeine in the morning, I need it, you're convincing your body that you need it.
If you repeat that enough times, you need it. And there's alpha, theta, and beta brain waves, right? Okay. Well, there is. Okay. So theta, children that are born and then up till about they're 7 years old are in a perpetual state of theta brain waves. So everything they hear and see goes into their subconscious.
Yeah. That's why they learn more quickly. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, they're sponges for information.
Yep. And then as they age, the theta goes down. Now, as adults, you and I, we have 2 periods where we're in theta. Right when we get up and right when we go to bed to sleep. So
in that kind of semi-wake sleep state when you're just falling asleep. Okay.
So if you go to bed at night, and whether you're on caffeine or not, doesn't matter. If you go to sleep with gratitude, what do you think? What are you thinking about? you're thinking about gratitude in your subconscious, in your dreams. Okay. Instead of laying there and thinking, oh, I got to get this project done first thing in the morning, or I can't wait to get up and have a cup of coffee. Okay.
Ruminating on all the stress that the next day is going to bring
Exactly.
you. Yes.
What you do is first thing you do is before you do that gratitude thing is you write down everything you want to do tomorrow morning. Just write it down. Because when you get up in the morning, guess what? You're not worried about this all night, right?
Yeah.
And this is where the journaling comes through. And that's just a different form of journaling. And then showing gratitude. Gratitude makes your life better.
Definitely. Yeah. So like having like an audio meditation to listen to, or meditation or hypnotherapy track that is guiding you through gratitude thoughts, and then letting that help you fall asleep. And that's the last thing your brain hears. Yep. Very good. Now, I'm aware that the time is ticking on, and it's been such an interesting conversation. I've talked to you so much longer than my other guests because I want to talk to you all day. There's so many more questions.
Well, thank you.
I have another very important question. What about chocolate?
I know I have to answer. Okay. I mean,
like really
I
dark
like chocolate just like everybody else. Right.
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to look to see how much caffeine is in it. Okay. I am more than willing to admit that a little bit of caffeine does not hurt you. Okay. I'm not anti-caffeine. I'm pro-health and pro-knowledge. And so if you have a little bit of chocolate, check to see how much caffeine is in it. At some point, you can find out. Okay. If it generally it might not be on the label, you just go on the internet, go to your search engine. The manufacturer generally will put how many milligrams are in there, and then decide. If you're going to have 20 milligrams of caffeine through chocolate, your waistline may suffer, but your caffeine. The caffeine isn't going to really affect you.
All right. Listeners might not realize that cacao has caffeine in it. And so I just wanted to say, people might not realize.
Yes.
Do you know if that's higher in very dark chocolate? Basically, is it more caffeine the darker the chocolate, or is there no association?
I don't have that answer.
Oh, fair enough. No, fair enough.
And I could tell you in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, go.
I could just go right here on my phone because my phone is quite handy. And I'm just going to ask my phone.
Yes, go for it.
You're here. You're a witness. Okay. Does dark chocolate have more caffeine than regular chocolate? Yes. Dark chocolate has more caffeine than regular chocolate because it has a higher percentage of cacao.
So it's about the amount of cacao. Interesting. Yeah.
Yep. I actually put cacao powder in my coffee in the morning, in my decaf, along with protein powder and stuff. But the cacao that I use has little to no caffeine in it. Whatever it is, it's organic.
Okay.
I've looked at it. It doesn't.
Interesting. So that would be a thing. So I have an obsession with cacao. I just have I make hot chocolate that's sugar free, just cacao and some hot water and milk, and I have so much of that. It's almost my coffee replacement. Yes. But I am aware now. I'm like, I'm gonna have a look and see if there is caffeine in this cacao that I'm using.
Right. That's the key.
Yeah. Or how much.
If it's got a little bit, it's okay. Your liver processes it. Remember the enzyme CPY1A2. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
There was no test on that, but your liver takes care of you. Okay. On this particular thing. Yeah. Your body's designed to be good, to keep you healthy, and then we insist on putting things into our bodies that aren't good for us.
Yeah, and then we overwhelm it if you have coffee and energy drinks and all that stuff, which is actually super normal levels of this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, Steve, thank you so much. This has been really fascinating, and I really hope that parents listening to this, even if they're not parents, take on board a bit of motivation to reevaluate their coffee consumption and think, about that they could actually improve their sleep if they, and improve their energy levels in the day if they don't have so much.
It improves their life.
And your life, absolutely. But I also want to ask, so you've mentioned so much interesting advice, interesting information, but this podcast is also about keeping it real, realizing that nobody's perfect.
Correct.
So the listeners don't think that you are perfect and you've got all the answers. If you don't mind sharing, what is one of your imperfections? So it can be completely random. It can be food related, whatever you like.
We'll go right to my self-sabotage tool shed.
Okay.
And that is food. I am an overindulger. I have a whole category just for me. Yeah. I'm the guy that once I start to eat, I figure I already blew it. So I'm just going to keep going.
Oh,
so I can gain 2 or 3 pounds in a day. Now I fast regularly. Okay. So I can lose it back. The problem is when I go on vacation, I gain a lot, and then it takes me quite a while to get it off. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and I rarely drink caffeine now. We drive to Florida, which is a 25-hour drive from where I live. And
whoa. Okay.
in September, now we don't drive straight through, but this September is the first time in my whole life, 68 years. I've been driving to Florida for 30 years. First trip that I didn't use caffeine.
Oh, well done.
Because I had been using it as a crutch because I need to stay alert. I need to stay awake because I'm driving and I don't, I do all the driving. And so I always used it as a crutch. Well, the downside of that was when I would get into the hotel room, I would sometimes lay there for 1 to 3 hours and couldn't go to sleep because I realized my adenosine receptors are all messed up.
Yes.
This time, the first night we got into the hotel, I had driven for 12 and a half hours. And we're in the elevator, and I looked at my wife and I said, I have never felt this good after driving 12 and a half hours because I didn't crash. I didn't crash.
No caffeine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, again, if I occasionally will use it if I want to be alert, if I want that adrenaline hit.
Yeah.
Okay, I will do it. Okay, I mean, I'm down to maybe once a month or once every 6 weeks.
Yeah, like you choose maybe the really important times when you need that laser focus, perhaps.
But what would be a reasonable thing to suggest? If you can drink caffeine just 2 or 3 days a week, not in a row, okay, but stagger it. Because you still get some of the buzz. You get the dopamine, you get the adrenaline, you get the cortisol. The dopamine is the big one because that's our natural high.
Yeah.
If you do that, you won't be addicted, okay? And your liver is going to be able to process it. And then the other days substitute something else. And you have to work for it. You have to find what's right for you. Once again, I can't and have no desire to tell you what to drink. Okay.
Of course. Yes.
Because it's personal choice, right? You're deciding what you're going to do and what you like. Yeah. I've tried other stuff. The Rooibos tea was okay. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I like my decaf.
Yeah.
My Swiss water processed decaf.
Yeah.
Thing is,
you
I
buy
put
high quality organic Swiss water processed decaf.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the articles I'm going to send you, it'll be in the show notes, is that process. Another one is also called 10 Nasties in Your Coffee. Which, when you read it, you may not drink coffee anymore. Okay, but that's beside the point.
Well, I think after this conversation, I don't think I'm going to have coffee anymore, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. But, this is information, okay? Yeah. And my message is, do you know someone? And perhaps that someone is you.
100%. Definitely. Yeah.
But again, if you know a woman, and I'm going to hit this because I need to. If you know anybody that's trying to have a baby, they're trying to conceive, and they're both drinking caffeine, it's not going to stop you, but it can dramatically affect it. Okay? Yeah. Because caffeine affects the sperm. It affects the blood flow to the egg, and that combination can make it harder. Now, obviously, it's not impossible because it happens.
Yeah. But it can be a struggle anyway. I mean, it can be, for so many people, fertility is a struggle. So actually, everything that can help you is a thing, you want to be trying.
And that's just a little thing, but it could be the thing that's blocking.
Yes, it could be. It could be the high cortisol levels that it's creating, and then your body thinks it's not a safe place to have a baby.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow, that was very perceptive, because you're exactly right. Because your body is reacting to these hormones and all of these things that are being pumped in as a result of your adrenal glands being stimulated by the caffeine. So yes, that's a great observation. Yeah. But there's so much. And we hit a lot. You did a great job guiding this.
No, you did a great job. I hardly had to ask you anything. Thank you for just giving us all this amazing anecdotal stuff, evidence, and amazing facts. But yeah, I'm gonna have to close this interview because it's time. But it's been wonderful speaking with you. Now, lastly, just tell the listeners again the title of your book and where can they buy it.
Sure. The book is called Release the Coffee Cuffs, Winning the Battle with Caffeine. It's available on every major bookseller. Okay, so Amazon, Amazon, all of them. Okay.
Okay.
And then it's also available in Kindle. Okay. This winter, I'm going to do the Audible version, so there will be an Audible, but I'm going to read it. And that's going to take some time because it's 400 pages. I'm not going to read all the references, just so you know. But
and you'll be reading this without caffeine to help you.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Right. And then the way to reach me, if you have any questions, you go. My website is releasethecoffeecuffs.com. That's CUFFS. It's a play on handcuffs. Yeah. And you can go on there. You can buy the book there. But I've got a lot of information there about caffeine. I also have a coaching program if anybody's interested, but there's a lot of information there. And then there's a contact page, and you can just send me an email and I'll respond to you.
Great.
Because if you have a question, first of all, I know most of the answers. Okay.
Yeah.
And if I don't have the answer, I can find it really fast because I have the resources.
Yeah. Perfect.
But thank you. That's the way. To get the book, to learn more about me and release the coffee cuffs.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to put all that stuff in the show notes so listeners can easily click on the link and find out more about you and buy the book. Absolutely.
Yes.
But excellent. Steve, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time and for your wisdom. And I am motivated now not to drink coffee. So thank you.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
Right, well, have a fantastic rest of the day. Well, that was Steve Frazier, everyone. And please do go and buy his book, Releasing the Coffee Cuffs, Winning the Battle with Caffeine. I'm going to go get it myself. Very interested. Although these days I don't get that much time for reading, of course, with an 11-month-old baby and an almost 4-year-old. But tiny bits of reading I tend to fit in here and there. But after that conversation, I am probably not going to have coffee again. I did quit coffee while I was pregnant the most recent time, and then stayed off it for a few months after baby Daisy was born. But then, of course, it started to creep its way back into my life. So yeah, I do drink it now, but I'm really going to cut that down and hopefully end up with nothing. So maybe you will too. Let me know if this has motivated you. I'd love to hear all about it. And now, without further ado, I'm going to love you and leave you. Before I do, I would love it if you could give my show a rating and review on whichever app that you use. This will be fantastic for helping me grow my show. It's a free way in which you can support me. So thank you. And yes, for now, have a great rest of your day, your week. Go and find your delicious coffee alternative. Make that your new habit and get in touch if you want. So, lots of love and see you next week.